What is up everyone? Video today, we're going over deloads. I get this question a lot. Over the last couple of years, I've changed my stance on deloads and how to go about them. Again, I always get this question on Twitter from clients. What's the purpose with deloads? How do we go about it? Now, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to deloads. Some people say you don't even need deloads in the first place. I just think it depends. But I want to give you the information so you can take what you need from this, and then again use your own brain and see what you think, how it applies to your own training, right? So what you need to look at, what is the purpose of a deload? First thing, it's to drop fatigue that comes from training. Now, for the most part, a lot of people are not even going to need to worry about deloads. You know, we're starting this video talking about the topic that probably most don't need to worry about. It's only the legitimate lifters who are training hard consistently. If you're a beginner, you probably don't even need to worry about this. You can just train for as long as possible, and natural deloads will happen in life for most people. When they get sick, when they go on holiday, whatever, most people's deloads will happen naturally. Now, there is a small percentage of people who this can apply to. Again, serious lifters who are getting after it consistently, they know how to train hard. That's the big thing. You need to understand that in order to warrant a deload, you have to train hard in the first place. All of this stuff here, signs to look out for a deload. If you're someone who trains 2 weeks, then you take a week off, 2 weeks here, all this doesn't matter to you. You know, this is for people who are serious, right? So, got that out the way, little caveat. Deloads, what are we looking for? Right, there's a couple of signs that we can look out for. Now, there's a few of them here. Now, it's not just one of them. Just because if you have joint pain on one day, that doesn't mean we abandon our training program and we need to deload right away. No, it's going to be a combination of a couple of these factors here. So let's go over each of them and what I mean by each one. So obviously joint pain. Now, certain tweaks that just crop up and continue to get worse through a training block. Could be your elbow, and knee pain, back pain. But again, if your training is on point and you've got a good program anyway, you're going to steer clear of a lot of this, but sometimes just wear and tear, it can happen towards the end of a block. So it's something to look out for. Like just them weird little annoying tweaks, you don't know where it's come from. Your body is just achy. That's something to look out for, right? Number 2, lethargic. More lethargic throughout the day. I class this again as more like brain fog. You wake up and you feel extra tired throughout the day. You just can't focus on tasks as much as you normally could. Now, obviously, if diet and all other stuff is on point, but you're just feeling extra lethargic more than normal. That's another one to look out for. And that ties in with number 3, no desire to train. So I imagine, you know, you're watching this video, you're a serious lifter, you love your training. If you consistently don't want to train, something's not right for me. That's a big thing where I'm thinking, maybe I need to pull back here, because if I don't want to go to the gym consistently, I know personally that's a big one for me that I look out for. Then next one, lack of appetite. Again, fatigue can rise to a point and then where cortisol becomes elevated more than usual. That can affect your digestion. So if you're in a gaining phase and your appetite is tanked and fatigue is high, again, they're things that you can look at. No desire to eat food. Again, if I didn't want to train as an example and I was struggling to eat my food, there are a couple of signs where I'm thinking it's time to pull back. So, trouble sleeping. You'll have when fatigue rises to a point where it's very high, you're going to have an elevated heart rate. Sometimes that can affect your ability to sleep. Not just get to sleep, but actually having restful sleep and going into deep sleep throughout the night. If you're very irritable in the middle of the night, waking up all the time, that's something to look out for as well. Performance regression in the gym, again, big one. If we're tracking our training and consistently we're noticing we're not able to progress our training and we're actually taking a step back on some things, what goes on inside the gym is a very, very big metric, a big marker that we need to look at. Final one, again, you're irritated, you feel more irritated throughout the day than normal. Things that normally might not bother you, things are just really starting to piss you off. Combination of all this stuff, and I imagine, you know, you've got some joint pain, you don't want to train, you're struggling to eat your food, you're irritable, you're struggling to sleep, there you go, fatigue is high, right? So they're just a couple of signs to look out for, right? Now, what do we do for in this situation? How do we go about deload? What's it all about? So, look, I think for most people, you're gonna be in a range of like 6 to 12 weeks of consistent training where then you might need to pull back. I don't think anyone needs to deload every 4 weeks. Might be some people. I've never seen it. If you're training properly with a good training program, hypertrophy training, if you're not just progressing volume for the sake of it, and that's the top of another video. But if we've got a smart plan, I don't think you need to be deloading every 4 weeks, because then you're wasting valuable training time, in my opinion. I'd say more like 6 to 12. So what I challenge you to do, everyone will be different with this. You may notice every 9th or 10th week, it doesn't matter what you do, every 9th or 10th week, that's when you really start to feel it. You see a hit in performance and you just start to feel irritated, lethargic, all that stuff. You notice trends with your training. So let's say every 9th or 10th week, that's when you feel you need to pull back. Perfect. If you progress 8, 9, 10 weeks, but then you need to pull back, take care of fatigue, and then you go again. Perfect. You keep doing that. You can't have someone tell you, deloads don't work. If that works for you, you fucking go for it. That's perfect. You found your runway of how many weeks you can progress your training before you need to pull back. Everyone will be different. I can't tell you every 6 weeks you need to deload. Every 12 weeks. It will be individual. It will be in a range of around 6 to 12 weeks. You could go 15 weeks. Someone might need 5, as an example. So you do have to experiment with it yourself. Now, the other thing is, do we have pre-planned deloads or do we take more reactive deloads? I don't really pre-plan deloads. I don't say we need to deload every 6 weeks and that's it. No topic of conversation. We just deload every 6 weeks. I'm not a fan of that because everyone will be different. I prefer for you to learn and understand your own body, to look out for these signs, and you'll know when you need to pull back. Your body is going to let you know. So if I told you to deload every 6 weeks, you could go 9, 10 weeks. So I'm telling you to deload too early. So I don't think you should plan deloads. I just think you take them reactively, and when you need them, I think you're going to be better off. Now, what do we do on a deload? As I said at the start of the video, the purpose of a deload is to drop fatigue. Many ways we can do this. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Some people just like to stay away from the gym because they have such an emotional and mental attachment to going to the gym that itself brings about fatigue, and it's hard to drop it. Some people just prefer to stay away from the gym for 7-10 days. Again, that's not wrong. If that works for you, you do that. Other people still like to go in and train a little bit lighter. Some people will drop the intensity a touch, drop their overall sets that they do. Some people like to keep intensity very high, but they might only do 1 or 2 sets per movement, where they might have been doing 3 as an example. So they'll drop volume but keep intensity. Some people just like to drop both intensity and volume. As I say, some people just like to stay away from the gym. There is no right or wrong way, but the main thing is it's a 7 to 10 day period of easy training and allowing fatigue to dissipate. Some people, when they start a deload, just like to take 3 or 4 days off right away and then do a couple of lighter training sessions and then they're good to go. But most of the time it's going to be around 7 to 10 days of easier training, dropping fatigue, so then we can go again for a new training block. That's the whole purpose of it, right? Now, just a couple of final points. What do we do with calories on a deload? It depends, like every answer in this training space. If you're in a dieting phase and you're in a deficit, I bring your calories up to maintenance. We don't want to be gaining weight in a deload in terms of trying to put on any fat tissue, muscle tissue. That's not going to happen. You bring your calories to maintenance. Why do we do that? What's the purpose of a deload? Drop fatigue. Food and calories coming up to maintenance is going to allow us to drop fatigue at a faster rate, so that we can get back into being in our deficit after the deload, drop fatigue, go again. What about if we're in a surplus and we're in a bulking phase? What do we do on a deload? Well, we're not going to have as much need for the calories that we might do when we're training properly. So instead of trying to accumulate any more fat mass in a deload, what I do on a deload, bring your calories back down to maintenance again. Just let the body heal. There's no point in going to being in a surplus in a deload because you haven't got the training stimulus there. Bring your calories down to maintenance. Again, we don't want any unwanted fat gain on a deload week when we're not training as hard or with as much work as we could do. So it just makes sense in both instances for a lot of people to bring your calories to maintenance. In the deficit, bring them up. If you're in a surplus, bring them down. And then you manipulate your calories back to where you need them to go in week 1 of your new block, right? So, as I say, the main purpose of a deload, we drop fatigue, let the body heal, and then you go from there for a productive another training block. What I will say with deloads, what I've seen myself, I've never regretted taking a well-timed deload. I've always come back recharged. I've always come back feeling fresh. Aches and pains gone. Motivation is at an all-time high to get back after it. As I say, I've never regretted one. You make your own decision. Try and error. Have a little run with this stuff yourself. See how you get on. Just want to share some wisdom and knowledge. All right. Talk to you on the next one.